Yeah, I mean I think we're taking the same route that we usually do in scouting the team and preparing the best we can with the film that we have, and yeah, I think we're going in confident to Oklahoma.
What do you know about Oklahoma based on some of your early film?
We haven't played them yet, obviously, and so it's just we're watching how the sets they run against the other SEC teams and the way they guard and the way that we're gonna use our flow offense against the way they guard, and they may come out a different way, and we always have counters for the way they guard, and so that's been a focus for us so far.
Has Otega been able to give you guys any pointers and any extra scouting reports since this form?
I think, from what I've heard, there's only one guy that Otega's actually played with still there. So I think we're just taking it as we would every other game and going there as prepared as we can and ready to compete.
What do you think has clicked for you over the last couple of weeks?
I mean, there's, I think, multiple things that go into it. One is just feeling more comfortable, and I mean, it comes with time. I don't know exactly what clicks or what exactly changes over the past few games, but I can say I'm definitely feeling very comfortable and confident in the role that I'm needed to play.
After your kind of breakthrough game, you talk about just the frustration of the process and not having that breakthrough moment. Just talk a little bit more about that and just kind of how frustrating things got when it didn't seem to kind of click for you on the floor.
Yeah, well, I mean, every player wants to succeed. They want to do what they want to perform the way they know they can perform, and when that doesn't happen, it's very frustrating, and I think every player goes through that, and so that's kind of what you've been dealing with, and learning how to take that frustration and turn it into something positive, turn it into working harder and focusing more, I think, is what I've learned and what I've been trying to do, and I think the frustration is, I mean, there's going to be continual frustration. Every game we're frustrated, and we're learning how to deal with that, and so I think that's the biggest thing.
How much did it help having Pope, who has been with players in similar situations with you, where you go away for 2 years, and having that guidance of like, hey, I've seen this, I know what it looks like to have a guy go through that and then find his footing eventually. How much did it help to have somebody just kind of teach you that patience?
Yeah, it's very nice. Him and Coach Feger have both dealt with a lot of players coming back from missions, and so it's nice having somebody that can reassure you that it's going to be all right. They've seen what's happening, and I'm sure everybody coming off their mission has their own timeline and their own, so that they can't tell me exactly when things are going to click or things are going to get better, and so it's been a big patience game and trust and faith and all that, and so I'm sure it's going to continue to be that way. There's more things I have to learn and more things I have to go through, and same with everybody else. And so that's.
How much did that experience help the patience and just the trials that you go through your first year of college basketball, just coming right off of that?
Yeah, I think, basketball has been my life all growing up, and it's been something that affects me a lot, the way that I play. And I think one thing that I've changed and learned is that my joy off the court doesn't depend on my performance on the court, whereas in my life it has a lot. And so I always have to remind myself that there's things much bigger to life than the way that I'm performing on the court, and my worth is a lot more than how I'm performing. And I think that helps me to take a step back and to come fresh every day and really find joy no matter the results that I'm getting from the court.
What was maybe your personal and team-wise biggest takeaway from the Bama game on Saturday?
I think that that our fight is I think it's hard to take a lot of positives from a loss, but I think in that game we had a lot of opportunity where we had Alabama on their heels and we felt like we had a time to strike, and there was a few little mistakes that happened on on our runs, and I think that was a big learning experience, but also a lot of what's the word? I think we know that we can compete no matter what. I mean, we're obviously dealing with injuries right now, but I think we learned, even though we didn't come out on top, we learned that we can compete no matter what, and we can find a way to make things happen.
Talk about those injuries. Hope said last night that you got Lamont and Jackson back in modified form, but still back on the floor. How good did it feel to just have some sense of normalcy with
No, it's nice to have them working back into things, and we want them back on the court as much as the fans do, and as much as they want to be back on the court. So we're looking forward to that.
How much does it help you guys getting the experience that you have in these last couple of weeks with them out? Knowing what kind of the new role that when you guys are back at full strength, with kind of the everybody together for the first time is going to look like.
Yeah, I think me, especially me, Travis, and Trent have gotten some great experience in some big games against top 5 opponents that I think have been great learning experiences for us for when we are needed to step up, and really just as basketball players playing in this league, I think the last few weeks have been great for our development, for our learning, and hopefully will benefit our team going into March.
Where do you feel like you've grown the most personally from the start of the season to now, especially getting more playing time these last 2 games?
I think trust and patience. I think it was something that I'll continue to repeat, is something that I've had to work on and have been forced to learn, is being patient and trusting in the playing style and the coaches and in myself. And so I think those are ways that I've grown.
How excited are you to kind of see postseason play? Not there yet, obviously a couple weeks away, but it's just kind of there on the horizon.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, in my life, it's like my favorite times of the year are always Christmas and March Madness. So I'm excited to see what it's like to actually be. And I remember in school I was always watching on my phone all the games and all that. So I'm excited to be a part of it, and hopefully it'll be more special that I'm actually in the games.
How much did you miss it the last couple of years?
Oh, I was having some serious FOMO during the March times. I would have my parents and everybody update me on what's going on once a week, but yeah, I missed it.
Do you feel any of the, how much it means to this fan base in particular of wanting to get to the kind of promised land with March Madness?
Yeah.
And where you guys kind of stand in your role with that?
It's awesome. And what's great is the expectation is known that anything less than a banner is disappointing, to be honest. So we're going into March knowing that, and we're ready to go and compete.
I'm sure you've answered this already in the other group, but what's it been like for you now that you're kind of knocking the rust off, you're more effective now, they're counting on you more? How much fun has that been?
It's so fun. It's so fun. I mean, I've been playing a lot of basketball in practice and all those things and getting reps, but it's a different thing getting in games and being able to play freely and confidently, and so it's been really fun for me.
And the fact that you've played well, what did that do for you mentally, your confidence?
Yeah, I think for confidence, I feel like I can compete and belong here in this league, and I can actually help the team. I think that's helped me a lot in my confidence and having fun in this game.
I know you rooted for them, but were you a little antsy when your fellow freshmen were out there hitting shots and the crowd's going nuts and you had to wait your turn a little bit?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what you might think. I didn't feel that too much, to be honest, because we all know what Travis and Trent are capable of, and really it's been a scramble to find what's a way that we're going to win as a team, and we've been able to win a few of those big games, and whether that's me that needs to step up or Travis or Trent, I think we're all ready and happy for each other. I don't think there's much of that going around. So
I know it was going to be a difficult process, playing with probably didn't really know what to expect in a lot of ways. But was it even more difficult than you expected, that kind of couple months span where you didn't get a whole lot of playing time?
Yeah, I would say so. It's tough, and yeah, it's different, I'd say, than I would expect. I don't know if it was harder or easier than I expected, but it's different, and I think now that I'm in it, it's hard to be patient, which is what I was told before I left. Is when I come back, I'll need to be patient with myself and with the game, and so that's something that's been battling with and embracing.
Have you ever had to be patient in that regard, as far as like injuries in the past or anything?
Sorry,
have
say
you
one more
ever
time.
had to be patient in that regard, like where you're
Yes.
watching from in the past?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time, I felt like a crucial time when I was going into my sophomore year of high school where I was hurt and I wasn't able to play, and that was a time where all my other buddies and everybody was getting recruited and getting looked at, and that was a time, I would say, comparable to this one where it takes a lot of patience and faith to trust in God's plan for me. And so sometimes I'm able to reflect on that time and know that I was able to come out of that time and still be successful and still get all the things that I was hoping for and working for. And so I'd say that's relatable to this time.
Andrew told us last home game that him and the team, they were able to see what we saw here recently back in December, that when it all just started clicking for you. Do you have a moment in your head where you're like, okay, it's coming together? Obviously, still some progress there, but like, was there a moment where you're like, all right, I'm starting to feel like it's coming together?
Yeah, it's, I think, been a gradual process, especially I've learned to take advantage of every practice that we have and getting better and getting reps, as there's oftentimes that I'm not getting those in games. So I think it's been a gradual process of getting better and getting more comfortable with different actions, different scenarios. And so I think these last 2 games have actually been able to show that growth and put that to the test against different teams. And so I think it's been a gradual process that might not seem so gradual to BBN, as they haven't been able to see me much out on the court. But yeah, that's been my feeling.
Where's your biggest area of improvement since you have been on the floor a lot more?
I think especially what's been a big learning curve is slowing down the game, is playing at our pace. That doesn't mean moving slower, but being more decisive and confident with decisions. I think I've grown immensely, and there's still room to grow in that way, but that's where I've seen growth.
Who have you kind of leaned on the most over these last couple months? Whether it be Coach Pope or parents or friends, who you kind of talk to the most over this time?
Yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time, obviously, with the team playing basketball. Coach Pope has been a great help, but my family means a lot to me. I'm very close to them, and I talk to my fiance a lot, obviously. And so I think them and my family help me to stay grounded, and they're always helping me see reality the way it is, and not letting me get too high or too low. So I'm grateful for them.
Is she back in Utah?
She is. She'll be back here for the Auburn game, though. Okay. So I'm excited to see her this weekend.
You signed on to play for Coach Pope here, obviously, and I know he encourages you guys in practice.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to you now, knowing that he's counting on you even more with minutes in crucial game times?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think confidence in yourself comes from knowing that your teammates and your coach is confident in you before you go out there, and so it means a lot to have. And I know he is confident, even with the injuries that we have. He's got to make some adjustments, but I mean, me and all the other guys are there to step up where we need to.
How have Jackson and Lamont looked in practice of late?
Yeah, they've been in a few modified practices, and I mean, they're good as ever. It's not like they haven't played basketball in a long time, so they'll be back to where they need to be whenever the time is right, whenever they get to go ahead.
What are the keys in facing this Oklahoma team?
I think there's a lot of keys that we take into every game, and one is our defensive shell principles is what we're focusing on right now, and polishing up some of the defensive lapses that we may have in transition, and I think that's where our offense gets its energy from, and that's when we're playing our best, is when we're getting stops on defense, focusing on perfect possessions on defense, and playing every possession like it's the game is dependent on it. And so I think that's our focus going in.
Over the last 5 games, you guys are number 11 defense nationally. Just what has kind of led to the breakthrough on that, especially without Lamont on the floor?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things, and I think we're focusing a lot on team defense, playing 1 against 5. We're all connected and helping each other, even when one person gets beat. I think sometimes we would get kind of on an island by ourselves. If we get beat, then the whole team gets beat, but we're focusing on second and third efforts of having each other's back and not quitting until we get a defensive rebound. And so I think that's helped us a lot, along with multiple other things.
How much can Lamont being back help? So being with the 11th best, but you top 10, top 5.
I mean, Lamont's the best defender I've ever seen in my life, and so obviously he helps a lot with our defensive energy, and yeah, that's what I can say about Lamont.
Is the mustache the rest of the season?
Unfortunately, I think we have to take taking like engagement pictures with my fiance, and she's making it go. So we got maybe a week left of it.
Thanks, Collin.
Thank you.
What do you take away from a game like the other night that not a lot goes right? You have chances, but still things slip away from you. What do you take away, especially your performance? What do you think about when you go back to the dorm?
I mean, just always got to think of ways to get better. And then obviously, like when you lose, you're just thinking about the next game and how you're going to respond. And I mean, there was a lot of times in the games like we could have like cemented ourselves into winning that game, but I mean, slipped up again just with little mistakes that we had. And then obviously I didn't really play that well, so it's just little stuff like that where you're just trying to respond, get better.
How did Alabama defend you? Was it anything different than what you've seen all season, or what was the difference there, you think?
Nah, I mean, I think they just did a better job of, paying attention to scout, obviously. And it was just one of them days, really. Balls wasn't going in, so.
What are your thoughts on that second segment of the first half? Coach Pope's talked about it a lot this season, kind of the drop-off there, especially after a hot start like you guys had down there.
I think that's just stuff we have to fix. It's more of like an energy thing and a pride thing. I think we have to take like on our shoulders more. Like if we start the game off hot, I feel like we can't just do it in spurts. Like it has to be a full 40 minutes, stuff like that. And obviously you're gonna get tired throughout the game, but you have to try your hard, especially on the road. Like you can't let those moments happen. So it's just we have to do a better job as players, like just keeping our energy up in that second stretch.
Are you surprised it's still happening this late in the season?
No, I mean it's towards the end of the season. I feel like a lot of stuff like that kind of happens, but I mean we just have to sharpen up. Like we have big goals, so we have to make sure we can't do that every single game.
What are your emotions just going into tomorrow, going back to Norman?
I mean I'm excited, but I'm just treating it like every other game, really. Another game that we have to win. So I mean I'm just looking at it like that.
You know that team better than any of your teammates. How would you how do you describe to them Porter Mosier's play style, offense, defense? Any tips you've been sharing with your teammates about how they'll approach this game?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of the guys already played Oklahoma too, so they know what it's about, and it's a brand new team too. So, I mean, I just know Coach Moser. He's obviously a big X's and O's guy, so he's gonna make sure he does his research, do all that stuff. So, I mean, we just have to be ready to fight, really, like every other game.
It seems like every time Oklahoma comes up over the past year or so, you only really have good things to say. Is it safe to say this isn't any sort of like a revenge game or a bad blood game or anything like that?
Nah, it ain't even that. It's just I feel like every player who plays their old school, and obviously they want to do well. They just they're excited for that game. So it's more like that, really. That's where I was the last 2 years. So.
Have you talked to Jackson at all about that? He's obviously had a couple of experiences this season doing something similar.
Yeah. I mean, he's also from Oklahoma too, so it's like a little homecoming for him. And on top of that, obviously A&M, Arkansas. So I mean, we haven't really talked about it, but I think he knows what that feeling's like.
What do you expect from the fans?
I really don't know. I don't know.
Can you guess?
I can't. I can't. We're gonna see, but either way, I'm excited to just get on the court again.
We talked about, treating it like any other game. How important is that? Because a lot of times guys get all psyched up when they go back to play, whether it's their home state or hometown, and they end up not playing well. So how important is it just to make it any other game?
It's important. I think since the beginning of the season, I've just been trying to focus on one game at a time and just putting all my effort into each game, not looking at it as like who we're playing, what the matchup is, because that's like when you create inconsistency. So, I mean, I'm just kind of looking at it all the same.
Was there any kind of burden with that double-figure scoring streak as it got a little deeper in the season? There was obviously a lot of attention on it. Did you think much about it, or was there any added pressure there?
No, obviously I knew about it, but when I'm playing, I wasn't thinking about it at all because I just feel like the way I play is like I'm just gonna fall into certain things like with the energy I play with. So, I mean, yeah, I was definitely aware. Bummer came to the end, but yeah, life goes on.
You said y'all still have goals.
Yeah.
And even with the manpower challenges you have, how do you feel about your all's ability to reach those goals?
I'm really confident because, one, we're going to get our guys back eventually, so I know we're going to be, once we're 100%, it's like a whole different story in my opinion. But on top of that, I feel like this whole period of time that we haven't had Jackson or Lamont, we've gotten better, collectively, individually, guys like Collin, Travis, Trent, they stepped up huge and they're doing great things. So that just adds to our resume, really, or our roster in terms of how deep we are. And in March, you need that. So.
How beneficial with those three guys you mentioned for when you get to March, when you get to the tournament? They have this experience where otherwise, if Lamont and Jackson hadn't gone down, they probably wouldn't have. How do you think that's going to help them in tournament time?
Well, in terms of?
In terms of if they have to play major minutes against really good teams or in really high pressure situations.
How's that going to help us?
How it's going to affect Travis, Trent.
Sure, it's going to affect me too because I haven't been to March Madness yet. So, those guys, they're vets and they've gone on runs, and especially Lamont and what he's done at San Diego State. He obviously knows what it takes to win and how you have to leave on the floor every single possession, every single play. So. When Lamont goes and shows that and leads by example, I feel like we all have to. And he's done a great job of doing that.
There's going to come a time when we get to Nashville for the SEC tournament, depending on the seeding, you're going to have to win 3, 4, several days in a row.
Yeah.
You talk about the energy and keeping it up. How difficult do you think that could be, especially if you don't get the full roster back by then?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult because, back-to-back games, it's not something you do during the season at all. So, that's just another challenge that you have to face. And it's exciting because I feel like with basketball, when it's just going one way, that's when it gets a little dull. And when you have to challenge and you have to try something new and do something new, like a new environment, I feel like that's what brings you closer together and makes it greater. So, it's definitely going to be a challenge in terms of the body-wise, but we want to win, so you got to put all that in the back seat, really.
How have those two guys looked? I guess Coach Hope said they went through kind of a modified practice yesterday. How do you think they looked yesterday?
They look good. I know they're trying their hardest to get back out there. They look good. They're working really hard, doing a lot of rehab, stuff like that. So I feel like it's only a matter of time until they're back out there.
Does this feel like it's kind of flown by for you? There are only 4 games in the regular season.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was talking about that this morning with my mom. It's I just feel like, it's true what they say, when time flies when you're having fun. And this year has been so much fun just in terms of where we've gone, the games we've won, the games we've played in. So it's crazy that it's already the end of the season and we talking about the conference tournament. But I feel like everything is going to work out great for us. So it's only going to get better and more fun.
What's stood out to you on film when watching Jeremiah Fears? I'm sure he'll be a guy you're matched up against a lot tomorrow.
Yeah. He uses his body a lot. He likes to kind of get angles and try and keep you in that position where you can't get back in front or something like that. So he's a good guard. That's probably something I've seen.
Think about just the rest of their team in general. Anything else that's really stood out on film to you all, or that coach has been emphasizing so far?
Yeah, they're all solid. like I said, it's a complete new team. So like I'm only familiar with like 2 people that were there last year. But overall, I know they're a solid team. Everyone in the SEC is good. So regardless of what what the record looks like, so yeah, they're solid.
Who are the guys that you were teammates with at Oakland, if you remember?
Jalen Moore and Sam Godwin, Luke Norweather as well.
Jalen Moore's been playing really well too. Just what have you seen out of him, or what do you even remember, and maybe how has he grown so far this season?
Yeah, he's tough, athletic. His overall game has gotten better. So that's my guy. So I'm glad he's doing well and stepping into that role.
When's the last time y'all talked? Have you been talking recently?
I think we talked about last week. Yeah, so pretty recent.
Any trash talk?
Nah, say that for the court. Yeah, that's still my guy off the court and stuff, so it's all love.
I'm sure you answered this question already, but how are you feeling heading back to your old stomping grounds?
I'm excited really just to get back out there, be on the court again, another chance to respond, and obviously I was there 2 years, so it's going to be a nice feeling. I just have my family there too, because obviously they've been to a lot of games there when my freshman, sophomore year, so I'm excited.
How hard is it to kind of balance the emotions while also trying to stay focused on the game and just play it like it's a regular game?
Yeah, it's not hard at all because it really is just a regular game. I feel like you can't tie too much emotions to it because that's how you become inconsistent and overthink and stuff like that. So it's a normal game. Just going to try and go out there, get the win, compete.
What was kind of the biggest thing that drew you to Oklahoma out of high school when you signed there?
The conference at the time, the Big 12 was like, it was crazy. It was a gauntlet. It was kind of like how the SEC was this year. So, I just love going where the competition is really. So that's what attracted me for sure.
I'm assuming Newark and Norman are a little different. Was there anything similar about the two places?
No, not at all. It was kind of a culture shock for sure. But I'm just grateful that I could play in a lot of different places, get to travel a lot. So, it was only a matter of time since I left Jersey. So Oklahoma was the first stop.
Back in September or August or whatever, did you see this version of Amari Williams?
Yeah. We got here, I want to say June. I knew it. Like, he a unicorn. Because obviously he was doing all the stuff that he's doing now in the summer. So, I just know the role that he has for us and how good he is, how talented he is. So, I'm not really surprised.
I heard this question asked, but it was a good question. So,
yeah.
Obviously, the double-digit streak's over.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like some weight's off your shoulders now? You don't really have to worry about it anymore?
No, I wasn't ever worried about it because, I just felt like as long as I was out there, I was going to fall into it and just, having good energy, the ball will find you. So, once I was on the court, I never thought about it, but yeah. So it's unfortunate it's over.
And then you and Collin being here, you guys both fouled out. Obviously, you're already missing 3 guys. How important is it for you guys to kind of stay out of foul trouble knowing you guys can't play, that you almost ran out of players almost?
Yeah, it's huge. That was one of the most frustrated I've been in a long time just because obviously you hate to watch the game from the side. But, it's a learning lesson for me as well. Just got to be smart, think the game. Like when I already have 3 fouls, I maybe have to pull the aggressiveness back a little bit. So, that was really unfortunate that we both fouled out, especially because we have a lot of guys that are out right now. But, yeah, it's definitely a learning lesson.
How much of a difference does it make when you get those 2 fouls in the first or maybe 3 in the second, especially the way you play or like Lamont plays?
It's huge because it's like, you try. Obviously the coaches and everyone tries to tell you not to change your aggressiveness, but it's like you want to be in the game. So sometimes you just have to read and tell how the officiating or how they're officiating. So that time I didn't really do a good job of obviously I know how the refs were calling it, but it's hard when you're an aggressive player and you're just trying to make plays, but you just got to figure it out.
You mentioned you were the most frustrated you've been. What exactly was frustrating about that game? It still looked like you were having fun on the sidelines at least, cheering on your team. But.
Yeah, that's all I could do since I was out, just cheer and just be positive. But, I was frustrated that I fouled out, really. And I think I got 2 fouls in the first half. And that, like you said, that kind of changes the way you have to play a little bit throughout the game. Picked up an early one in third quarter, third in the second half. So, that was more frustrating for me. But, once I'm out the game, I just just gotta stay positive and can't let too many things hurt you in the moment.
grounded, and they're always helping me see reality.